And mind you, this was only 2 months VitaLife.
Well, what about this ulcer of mine, Mr. Oakwood? I've been afraid that it might turn to cancer. Would your stuff help that?
Might be cancer, huh? Well, now, look, there's one thing you got to remember. You see, this stuff ain't no medicine. But then, of course, cancer, that's just another name for a bunch of cells that are gone wild. You know, because they're like... But look, you give your body everything that it needs, and them cells are satisfied, then, like as not, your condition's going to improve.
Then you think by taking VitaLife, it'll help me?
Oh, absolutely.
What did you say was the name of your organization and the nature of your lectures?
VitaLife Incorporated. We are producers of the miracle health food supplement. But in my lectures, I stress better health, diets, that sort of thing. It's very important for those of us like you and me who are over 40. Past the prime of life, as they say. But with proper diet and a mature attitude, these can be vital years. Well, as the poet says, come with me. For the best in life is yet to be. It's a wonderful sentiment. Don't you agree?
Yes, I see what you mean. You understand, of course, that we don't permit sales of anything in our facilities.
You do not permit sales? Well, believe me, I am not peddling anything. This is basic education. I am a lecturer. Of course, occasionally someone wants to place an order for some of our products while they're at the lecture, but I most certainly would not think of turning this educational lecture into a sales meeting. It'd be dreadfully bad taste, you know.
Well, just as long as we understand each other.
Certainly, certainly.
Now, just one more thing, Dr. Wolf. Do you have any local references?
Well, now, really, I did not expect this question. I am nationally known, Mr. Greeley.
I'm sure it'll be quite all right. Now, if you'll just step into my office, I'll give you a receipt.
Wonderful, wonderful.
You're invited to the opening lecture of Dr. Bernard Wolf, world-renowned authority on health and nutrition and president of VitaLife Incorporated. Well, that sounds interesting.
The Bennett's left this other literature, too. You know, it seems to make a lot of sense. People are far more conscious of diet and vitamins than they used to be.
Say, this might make a good story for one of my broadcasts. My sponsor's been after me to get some new angles.
Hello, Mother. Hello, Dad.
Hi, darling.
Hi, sweetie.
You're early tonight.
Oh, you're late.
You know what?
Oh, what?
Mike James asked me to the spring formal.
Oh, Mike James, eh?
Well, while you're floating on cloud 9, just float out to the kitchen and put the food on the table. It's all cooked.
Ah, it must be wonderful to be 16. Say, this stuff is expensive. It could cost us about $30 a month for our family.
I know, darling, but that $30 might save us from a lot of doctor bills. Remember how enthusiastic the Bennetts were about how VitaLife was helping them?
Yes, honey, but they are selling the stuff.
Oh, but they weren't until it helped them so much.
Well, we'll see what Dr. Wolf has to say before we decide, huh?
All right. It's just that we ought to do everything we can to protect our health.
Well, I've always been the healthy sort.
Yes, and I want to keep you that way.
Okay, Doctor, you win. Hey, when do we eat?
Right away. You know, darling, about the spring formal. It's only 3 weeks away, and it's the big party of the year for Helen. She really does need a new dress for it.
I've just got to have a new dress, Dad. I can't go in those old rags I've been wearing.
Old rags? What about the formal we got you for the Christmas dance?
Dad, that was a winter formal. I can't wear that.
Well, what about the pretty blue one we got you last fall?
I wore that one to the Valentine ball.
Well, honey, I don't know.
Now, look, let's not talk about it now. Maybe I can sew a new top on the blue one, and it won't really be the same.
I can't go like that. I'll just not go. I just won't.
Don't let it upset you, Ted. It's just that at Helen's age, these things are terribly important.
It would seem so. I don't like to say no to her, Mary, but, well, money's a little tight right now. And if we take on this food supplement thing, we may have to economize somewhere else.
I know. But her health comes first. Well, we'd better eat if we're going to make the lecture on time. There's Mrs. Alden. Remember I told you about her? She has that gland disease that nobody seems able to help.
Mm-hmm. Say, we better find our seats the way these people are pouring in. This crowd seems to like it.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you. My friends, I am deeply touched by the warmth of your greeting. I know it expresses not only your sincere affection for me, but also your great concern with me for the health of this country. And God alone knows how important it is to our future that we be alert and strong. And as we all know, the secret to health is proper nutrition. May I say, as I look at some of you, there has been sufficient nutrition. Now, it is neither the quantity of food nor the fatty tissue that results from overeating that gives us health and long life. It is the quality of food, and the quality of food alone, that determines firmness of tissue and the roundness of corpuscles. Now then, just let us see what we have been doing to our stomachs. These are embalmed. That's right. Embalmed carcasses of little pigs. And you can imagine what those embalming chemicals do to our stomachs. Now, see what we have here. You see what it is? Water and air. And we think this will support life. Now this. Not much to them, is there? Well, how could there be? They've refined out all the good. And do you know where it goes? To the cows and the pigs. We get the leavings, and do you know why? Because we are pawns. Pawns of the large manufacturer and his cartels. Now then, just where does all this end? With this. With this instrument of pain and torture used to administer the juice from rotting, putrefying molds. Miracle drugs, they call them. It's a miracle you survive them. But we don't have to be victimized by unscrupulous doctors and their medical trusts. For even when they fail to help you, you can depend upon the most natural cure in all the world provided for us by God in all his wisdom. The abundant fruits and vegetables that make up correct nutrition. Because I knew you ladies were concerned with the welfare and health of your families, I have collected here 105 preventative and remedial diets. Diets for arthritis, for cancer, for diabetes, diets for high blood pressure, diets to restore glandular power. Now,
This guy's going pretty far.
It's also true.
We do not sell my book, nor our wonderful food supplements at these meetings. But if any of you wish to place an order, my associates will be on hand at the end of this meeting. And I am sure you will enjoy alfalfa sprouts in your salads. They are simply delicious.
That was a most interesting lecture, Doctor.
Well, thank you.
I'm Ted Hartman of television station KTVX. I wonder if I might interview you further sometime.
Well, of course. I'm delighted to know you. Well, perhaps we could talk for a moment right here. I am sure these ladies would excuse us. My associates will be very happy to help you. Now then, young man, what would you like to know?
Well, what would you list as the most important single element in human nutrition?
Kelp.
Kelp.
Absolutely. You see, originally, all life came from the sea. And in their primitive state, our cells subsisted on the nutrients from seawater. It's truly the mother of creation. And it still contains most of man's most precious nutrients today.
Yes, but what about people living inland? I'm sure my grandmother never saw kelp, let alone ate it.
True, very true, but that's one of the great tragedies of mankind. The lifespan of the human race was drastically shortened when it moved from the sea. Fortunately, though, something has been done. We have devised the means to process the raw, perishable kelp and extract the vital juices in a crystalline form.
This is something you developed.
Well, now, I could not accept all the credit, but it was from an idea I had after a study of the primitive Maori tribesmen, many of whom lived to be 150 years old. And there's another very important thing about this. That's...
Oh, Doctor, I'd like you to meet my wife, Mrs. Hartman.
Well, how charming.
Thank you. We enjoyed the meeting so much, Doctor.
Well, that's very kind of you. Now, as I was saying in my lecture, after you pass 30, the body begins to slow down, and in some cases, this is unfortunate for marriages.
Is that so?
Well, this, too, is caused by the sterilization of processed foods, robbing them of all their good. Now, if you were to fill your bodies with high-energy-producing foods, as I recommend in my book, I am sure you could even recover the zest of your honeymoon.
Well, that's very interesting. Well, thank you, Dr. Wolf. Thank you very much for a most interesting and informative evening. We'll see you again at another lecture.
It's auf Wiedersehen. Madame, it has been my pleasure.
Thank you. Good night.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Honey, anything wrong? Oh, come on, sweetheart, out with it. You've been too quiet all the way home.
What was that business you were giving Dr. Wolf about our not having any vitality? Neither of us is a teenager, but I thought that... You'd have to laugh at me.
Sweetheart, there's nothing wrong with us. Believe me, absolutely nothing.
Well, what did you mean?
Oh, I was just letting the good doctor talk, leading him on. There may be more of a story here than I thought.
I thought that... Well, never mind what I thought. I'm just glad you didn't carry that gag any further, you joker.
Come here. Ye gods, the what? Well, that's what he called it, the medical trust. And then he took off on the druggists and the manufacturers of food products, claiming they were poisoning the public.
I'm sorry I missed it. What's he selling?
Well, nothing, he claims, but he was pretty blatant about taking orders for his books. We heard about him through some friends of ours who were peddling his food supplement. They claimed it would cut down our doctor bills.
Nothing I'd like better. I don't think any food supplement would do it. You got a couple more minutes?
Sure.
Excuse me. Operator, this is Dr. Glenn Hamilton. I'd like to place a call to Chicago. Whitehall, 4-1500. That's right, thank you. I'm calling our American Medical Association headquarters. They keep a pretty close check on things of this kind. Hello? Bureau of Investigation, please. Hello? This is Dr. Glenn Hamilton in Central City. Oh, fine, thanks. There's a nutrition specialist lecturing here calling himself Dr. Bernard Wolf. Yes, that's right. Uh-huh. You know about him, huh? Uh-huh. Well, I'd also like to refer a friend who's a news commentator to some authoritative source regarding the claims made by Wolf. Yes. Yes, I know Dr. Roberts. That's good. That's right. I'll tell him. Thanks a lot. Goodbye. They've heard of him, all right. Seems as though they've been keeping pretty close tabs on him for some time. They're going to send me a personal information file on this bird, and you can pick it up from me here.
I certainly appreciate you going to all this effort.
Not at all. It's a regular public service of the AMA. Meanwhile, they suggest you call on Dr. Roberts at the University Medical School. He's a top nutrition authority and also a member of the Council on Foods and Nutrition of the American Medical Association. They suggest, too, that you check with the local Food and Drug Office.
All right, I will. And thanks very much.
Good luck on the story.
Thank you.
I can tell a skunk when I smell one. But these boys can give you its pedigree.
This looks like it might be a long one. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
What about bread, Doctor? White bread.
Step over there. Now, this is a demonstration I prepared for a talk to some high school science teachers. Can you tell any difference in the rats in these 2 rows of cages and the rats in these 2 rows of cages?
No, but why ask me? I'm no doctor.
Well, the point is, neither can I, and I am. The rats in those cages were fed on a special whole wheat bread containing molasses, salt, honey, malt, caramel, yeast, plus dehydrated vegetable flours made from carrots, spinach, kelp, lettuce, pumpkin, cabbage, parsley, and onions, potatoes, bone meal, and sunflower seeds.
You're kidding.
No, this is a special health bread, marketed at about twice the price of ordinary bread. Now, these poor rats had only ordinary enriched white bread.
Well, I'll be darned.
I can't find any differences. Neither can the scale nor the rats.
What do you mean?
Here's a chart. Weight, general activity, and reproductive activity, and all the rest, see?
Why do people buy these expensive special foods?
There's a food faddism sweeping the country. It's a sort of a big lie technique promoted by the people who want to sell these things. You can double your food bill that way, but not your nutrition.
But where do these odd notions about food originate?
Man has always built up magic when he felt insecure. Here, take a look at this. Well, this fine gentleman was also an authority on nutrition. I'm afraid he got most of his information from his grandfather, however, and neither of them were very scientific about it.
Now to the heart of the lion, we add the brain of the wolf for cunning.
Now, this gal was worried about her complexion.
Pearl of rare beauty, O Queen, to make your skin as smooth as a lotus blossoms. And may love attend you forever.
This guy could never work the same territory twice. He might have gotten lead poisoning himself.
Wolf milk, that's what it is, brothers. The most potent medicine money can buy. Good for what ails you. Come on, step right up, gents. What do you got to lose except all your aches and pains? Come on, get it while it lasts.
Well, what does it all add up to, Doctor?
Fear, mainly. Fear mixed with superstition and ignorance. Bad combination in anyone's diet.
That sounds pretty serious.
It is. People who fall for food quacks often spend large sums of money buying so-called food supplements. Money which could be spent more soundly if they were to buy groceries, which would provide them with a balanced diet.
Now, what about the relationship of food to cancer?
We've been conducting an experiment for some 15 years now on this topic. We may not know anything really for another 20 years. Any generalization that all disease is caused by diet deficiency is a very great and dangerous exaggeration.
And some people find it so easy to be sure.
Quacks and charlatans have been preying on the sick for centuries. The real danger is that people with very real symptoms may try to cure them by diet instead of going to a doctor for a proper diagnosis.
I can see how that might be. I suppose it's needless to ask if seaweed could be the source of longer life.
Oh, that's straight from the Bible of old Bernard Wolfe.
Well, that's how I got started on this story. Some of his ideas seemed, well, to say the least, exaggerated.
You could have said distorted, and it might have been more accurate. Take this sea theme of his, for example. Now, a lot of legitimate research is being done on all forms of sea life, but that's a long jump from calling it the fountain of youth.
I see. A grain of truth with enough distortion can become a gold mine.
Exactly.
Well, I've taken up too much of your time already. But thanks very much for all your help.
You're most welcome.
Good day.
Sure, we'll help anyone to educate the public about quackery in any form.
How do these characters get by? Aren't there laws of some sort?
Society always indulges the quack. I suppose because on the surface their crimes don't seem so violent as kidnapping or murder. But when one of these birds gets a hold of a patient who could be cured with proper medical care, and as a result of that, the patient dies, well, to me, that's manslaughter or even murder.
I never thought of it quite in those terms before. Are there many cases of it going that far?
Yes, we had one recently where a diabetic was taken off insulin by a quack who was selling cactus juice. The boy went into a coma and died.
Well, that's horrible. What happened to the guy selling the cactus juice?
Well, we managed to put him out of circulation. But not all the operators are so easily caught.
How about this VitaLife outfit?
Well, you might be interested in hearing how some of these boys operate. Now, these tapes were made while one of them gave his spiel. Now, listen to this one. And you think my taking VitaLife will help me?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it sounds mighty good to me. What about my little girl? She's kind of crippled up.
Oh, that's too bad. Say, you know, ain't it a crying shame that the doctors don't seem to be able to help none? Now, you take my little Carol. Why, she'd had so many shots that she looked like a pincushion. And they were probably causing her a lot of harm. But she was having some sort of spells of some kind. And one night I was getting pretty upset about it. Well, that very next night, the VitaLife people come to me, and I put my little child on the stuff, and from that day, mister, to this, she ain't had no shots, and she ain't had no spells either. I don't know what's wrong with your little girl, but I know we love them more than anything, and we shouldn't keep what they need away from them.
That's fantastic. It's hard to imagine that they would stoop to preying on sick kids.
Yes, the little girl had leukemia. And it's a federal offense to offer for sale any food supplement preparation as a cure for that kind of disease. But it's difficult to get evidence for a conviction. Even when we do, they usually get only light sentences.
I can't get over how sincere that fellow sounded.
But that doesn't make him any less dangerous. Sincerity or ignorance can't always be considered harmless when we're dealing with human life.
I wonder how big this racket has really become.
We don't know, but we keep a constant check on it. And so does the American Medical Association and the National Better Business Bureau. But it's like an iceberg. Only a small part shows on the surface. Excuse me. Hello, Inspector Corley. Yes, I know the man. Yes, I would be interested. Thank you very much. Well, it was a disillusioned follower of Wolf. She just spotted her fallen idol in a restaurant, behaving like the rest of us mortals.
That I'd like to see. It'll be good for my story. Let's go.
All right.
Dr. Wolf.
What is the meaning of this? I have no time to interview you right now.
Just a couple of routine questions. How many people have died as a result of your treatment? How many victims have you left in broken health? How much money have you made from this racket?
This is outrageous. What right do you have?
What about the rights of the people you swindled, Doc?
Who hired you? I know your game. You're part of the plot of the big industrialists and the medical associations. They're afraid of me, that's what it is. They're afraid of the truth.
What a cheap, lousy crook.
All right, you think what you like.
Enjoy your embalmed carcasses. I hope they're all you say they are.
Looks as if a lot of us have been suckers. Doesn't seem very funny now, does it?
No. If that's all there was to it, we could laugh it off like Barney.
I don't feel much like laughing.
Neither do I. Mary, this thing is bigger than the dope traffic and involves a lot more people. People who can't afford the money for useless pills and fancy food. They need it for milk and eggs, for bread, for meat and vegetables. The things that really make kids grow.
I just don't get it. Why do we all fall for these phony pitches?
Well, it's because people are afraid. And these bums play on the vague, hardly recognizable fears of average people like you and me. On the latent hypochondria in us all. It's time people saw the real story and learned how they're being cheated.
Guess we don't need this anymore, do
You
we?
bet we don't. Now, you just watch a little homemade magic. Yeah. Get Helen that new dress she wants. We just saved $30. It'll need more to her than those fool pills will anyway.
Brother, I've got some bad news for you. Did you know that the food you eat no longer contains sufficient nourishment to sustain life? And now don't be alarmed, because I have here in these easy-to-take little crystals that miraculous new food supplement is...
Mary, looks like we better call Inspector Corley again. Go on, get out of here, you bum. Beat it.
Daddy, you're the greatest, simply the greatest.